Hello, hello, and happy Friday, everybody. Daniel here, back with another 5-Minute Friday, where we dive in a little bit deeper into this week's blog posts, which this week we're talking all about how to choose a color palette for your private practice website. Before we begin, I just want to give a shout out to Yeti, and this is my new favorite thing that I have as part of my setup here at home is this Yeti mug, because I love my coffee hot, and so I would pour coffee into my mug, heat it up in the microwave, go sit down, and like 15 minutes later I'd have to go back to the microwave and reheat it. So this thing has totally changed my life. Love Yeti products. Just super excited about that. Anyway, yeah, so let's talk about choosing a color palette for your website. Now, color is obviously very important when it comes to your website because it, just like the images, it helps you sort of portray, what your brand is about, how you want people to feel when they land on your website, and it's kind of like a subtle thing, but if you give it a lot of thought for how you want people to feel when they come to your website, you can really affect the mood of your ideal client. If you have people who are maybe anxious, so you want people to feel peace when they come to your website, so you might use more natural colors, maybe some like greens and lots of white space and really light gray, or perhaps some blue to kind of give it a little uplifting feel, stuff like that. And if you check out this week's blog post, I posted in there a study that a psychologist did that kind of grouped together these different characteristics on like how color can portray your brand, such as for purple, it's kind of like this like royal regal color. It also has like a feminine quality. So if your main demographic for your ideal client is women, you might want to use a purple in your website. And if done right, it can kind of give some sophistication to your website as well. So definitely check out the blog post for some of that stuff. And one thing I want to share with you is this really cool color palette generator that Canva has. And Canva is a browser-based design program, graphic design program that you can use to create graphics, edit pictures, resize pictures, and stuff like that. And so it's a great tool if you don't have something fancy like Photoshop. You can use Canva to do a lot of cool stuff. And they have this really cool palette generator. And what it lets you do is it lets you take a photo that you really like and create a color palette around that photo. So this works really well if let's say you've been gathering photos for your website and you have a certain mood you want to portray on your website. So you can decide, well, what's going to be my main focus on my homepage. I like to have nice large images on the homepage that really draw people in. And so you might want to, if you haven't already, you might want to build your website around a certain image and then find other images that have that same sort of feel and color. So you can see here on this website, the easiest place to get colors from your photos. So all you have to do is drag and drop a photo. So I've got one here from a recent client of mine. And drag that into there. And it'll run really quick. And then it'll give you these different what they're called hex codes, and that's the numbers that display colors through HTML on your website. So if you just click that, it's going to copy that hex code. And then let's say you're using, like I like to use Divi as my favorite WordPress theme. So if you go into WordPress, into your theme settings, you most likely have something like this, a default color palette, and then you can come in here, click on each one, paste it in, and you can kind of go back and forth, copy that, paste the next one in, and you can build your color palette. And what's cool about Divi is that once you do this, then as you're building web pages throughout your website, those colors will be available for you, so you can easily make sure everything is working in the same style and the same color palette. So that's the color palette generator from Canva. So definitely do check that out. I think it's kind of a lot of fun to play with and just to make different color palettes. And it's something you definitely want to take some time, and especially if you're just starting out your website, or maybe you kind of feel like your colors are a little all over the place, you can get back to a place where your colors are really working for you on your website, by taking some of the photos you might currently have and creating new palettes and making sure that it's sort of one unique set of colors, and it's not just sort of pieced together and has a really good feel. Everything's working together. Another thing that I share in the blog post are a couple other places where you can get color palettes that people have already created. The website that I use the most is called Design Seeds, and this is a place I often take my clients when we're first starting their project and we're talking about color. I ask them to go to Design Seeds and look through the different color palettes that other people have created. And it's pretty cool because you can, let's go through here. I'll just show this as one example. Kind of works in a similar way in that, let's see, explore by. So let's say you want your website to kind of have a spring feel to it. You can click and they've got all these different collections of colors that kind of go by seasons, or you can start with a specific color. So here they've got it paired with all these images, which is really cool because you can kind of say, wow, I really like the feeling of that image paired with that color, and then I can use these colors on my own website. So check out Design Seeds. That's a great place for inspiration. And two other places that I mentioned are Color Lovers is another place where people can create color palettes and save them. You can kind of go through it. I don't think it's as visual or as sort of user-friendly as Design Seeds. I find Design Seeds is much cleaner. It inspires me a little bit more. And then Coolers is a Chrome plugin extension that you can use for your as you're browsing around. You can browse color schemes through that and create color schemes really quickly. So those are three places that you can find color palettes and be inspired, and just do a little bit of work on how do you want your website to feel. So there you have it. That is 5 Minute Friday. I hope you found this helpful. Definitely go over to createmytherapistwebsite.com/blog, and you can check out that blog post. Check out those links for those different websites that I just mentioned, and hope everybody has an amazing weekend. Thanks.